Hey guys, welcome to CALLOUS Fight Night. Unfortunately, we have a bit of a change of plans. It was supposed to be Jabba against Gaku this week. Instead, we have a substitute for Jabba, Genesis7, against defending champion Gaku. I was really looking forward to what was going to be a no OU matchup between those two guys, but like I said, there is an unfortunate change of plans. Genesis is tagging in. He is an RBY and an Oros main, and he asked me to go in the pool. I don't know what his level is for ADV, but I trust him enough. We have a good enough relationship to where I don't think he would come here just for the sake of screwing around. So if he wants to do this, then I would assume he has at least somewhat of an interest or somewhat of a clue about ADV. We will see what happens. It's looking decent for him this game. There are spikes beneath his team, but he's got some chip damage on the Scarm, and nothing of his is really in danger at this time. So decent start for Genesis on the bottom. We'll see if he has a spinner in the back. Jolteon coming in for a Thunderbolt, which it does have the Volt Absorb ability, but it doesn't matter in this case because it was already at full health. And now Lax is going to come in, so this might... it looks like a team for Genesis that should have a Magneton on it, but he had a million opportunities to get that in if he does have a Magneton. You would think that would have happened already, so I think we can rule that out, even though it looks like a team that should have Mag, given the rest of the things. Skarm, Gyarados, Meta are all Pokemon that benefit from Skarmory the Wall, not so much Skarmory the Spiker, but Skarmory the Wall being out of the way. So we've got ourselves still a 6-6 here on turn 10. 2 unrevealeds for both guys. Looks like a Jolteon Spike Stacks variant for Gaku, which is a personal favorite archetype of mine. And some kind of physical spam or maybe a mixed offense for Genesis, who, like I said, it looks like his team should have a Magneton, but evidently it doesn't. And Gaku here is sneaking in the Skarm, getting some protects, blah, blah, blah. Starting to accumulate some health back with lefties. Scratch that. He's going to leave it in for a Thunderbolt. He thought maybe Genesis wouldn't go for that out of fear of the Jolteon, but it did not work out. And interestingly, the Zapdos actually has both Thunderbolt and Thunder. Very unusual. Went for the Thunder there on the T-Tower but missed. Now gets him with Thunderbolt. It's a mixed tower from Gaku, having shown both Fire Blast and now Rock Slide. And we've got ourselves a 5-5, still with 2 unreveals for both guys. Faster T-Tower gets a big Fire Blast off. Meteor Mash is going to kill him, of course, from 56% though. And Metagross is essentially dead as well. He can keep it as fodder if he wants, but it will die to the spikes or to any attack, so damned if you do, damned if you don't. We'll see if he decides to get rid of it here. I think if I'm Genesis, I would simply use Explosion to prevent the Jolteon from going for some cheesy sub or cheesy BP or a Wish or anything like that. And for Gaku, I think he's obligated to simply attack. So I think the play is simply just going to be a Thunderbolt here. But no, here comes Gengar, and a nice agility there, actually. Better than Explosion, because now he can Meteor Mash. That was a huge, huge agility for Genesis there. That was the best possible scenario. Now Gaku, the meta should have been dead there, but Gaku with extreme greed is going to get punished. He should have just clicked Thunderbolt and he would have been good to go, but he is going to lose an extra poke and take heavy damage on an additional poke because of the greedy decision that he made. Gaku there, absolutely. I think it's a misplay, but at very least it was a very, very greedy play that Genesis punished, and now Genesis is looking good to clean up this game. Gaku, our defending champion, down to only 2 pokes. We see the last of which here is a Starmie, which is probably an offensive star, which does look threatening here. It will kill the Tar. It will kill the Gyro with Thunderbolt. Lax, however, is going to be the issue for 2 entirely special-based Pokemon from Gaku. And of course, Genesis has not shown his last Pokemon either, but this is more or less a 2v2 situation because the Gyarados here will die to a Thunderbolt from either the Jolteon or the offensive Starmie. So at this point, Gaku is going to need a full power or a critical hit to get through this Snorlax, and he would need a favorable last poke, and neither one is going to come. He goes for the Hydro Pump, doesn't find the crit, doesn't find the full para. Self-destruct comes off for Genesis7, and a guy who just subbed in on short notice to CALLOUS Fight Night about an hour ago is going to dethrone one of our longest sitting champions in Gacu, who I feel has been in Fight Night. I don't have the data in front of me, but it feels like it's been 4, 5, 6 weeks straight of Gacu. Genesis is going to come in and dethrone him. Impressively done. He doesn't even show his last poke. I think Gaku has himself to blame in a big way. I think that one sequence there with the meta and the Gengar probably was the most important sequence in the game and really came back to bite him. Gaku ended up losing his Gengar for no reason and taking huge damage on his meta because of that sequence. If not for that, maybe the game would have turned out differently. It's hard to say without knowing what the last poke is for Genesis, but it definitely feels like this is a potentially winnable game for Gaku had that sequence not occurred. But it did. Genesis wins. He'll be our new champion, and it's time to find out who he'll be against next week. You guys know the deal by now. We are going to simply slip in here. Man, I almost clicked on my CALLOUS Invitational 4 invite list by mistake. I can't show you guys that. None of you are allowed to see that just yet. We'll get Genesis out of the pool. My bad. Like I said, he tagged in earlier on short notice, so I did not edit it. So we actually just have these players. So let's see. What does this equal? 21, 26, 30, 33, 35, 37? Well, that makes it pretty easy if that's what it is. Let me just do that math again. 21, 26, 30. Yeah, 37. All right, that's pretty straightforward. Let's random number generator here. You guys know the deal. We're just going to set it to a high number, and then we're just going to go ahead and draw it one time, whatever it is. Number 18. Number 18. That is Astamatitos. So yeah, I mean, those are two real hard matches in a row for Genesis. He's going to beat Gaku, and next week he's going to try his luck against Asta. If he beats Asta, you've got my attention, and maybe you'll see Genesis7 in CALLOUS Invitational 4 play-ins. Maybe, just maybe. I don't want to get too far ahead. Impressive victory this week. Let's see what he can do next week. It'll be Genesis against Asta. Look forward to that.